What's up, family? Welcome back
Welcome back.
to another episode of Shepherding Souls. Our final episode of the season, capping season 1.
Yes.
Sad, but we do need a little break. We've
Yeah.
been going at it. I mean, we've been consistent for 10 weeks now, which is pretty cool to
Yeah.
think. But we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to the holiday season.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is among us. Christmas has already been among us.
Thanksgiving
house?
is in 2 days.
2 days here, yeah. So we're excited about the holidays and looking forward to continuing to make our own traditions and family things and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
Your favorite holiday memory, now or growing up? Either
My
one.
favorite holiday memory. I don't think that I necessarily have a specific holiday memory that like stood out among other holidays. I just think that there is some nostalgia around just the feelings that Christmas brings, the family time, the time of rest, and creating memories. I think now. I think I do enjoy now that I have my own family, including my kids, and creating things and celebrating, finding fun things to do, baking, giving to other people, but also, most importantly, keeping our eyes focused on what the season is truly about. What's your favorite holiday memory? Christmas or Thanksgiving? Anything?
Donny Hathaway, This Christmas.
Okay.
I always have to hear that song.
Okay.
You know that if you listen, don't even. That's not you. Chris Brown folks can leave now. Donnie, This Christmas. Okay.
I don't think I know that version. I have to.
You don't know
hear it.
Donnie's?
I'm sure I've heard it before and didn't know that it was him.
It's okay. Donnie, yeah, that's the one you usually hear.
Okay.
It's Donnie. And then Chris Brown did that This Christmas, and then he starts singing, and everybody think that's the anyway. We ain't even gonna go
Sounds
into
a little
it.
bit like a hater.
I am,
but
clearly.
I feel he did a really good job on that song.
And in 2005, getting my motorcycle for Christmas. Oh my god.
But didn't you say you didn't write it that much?
I wrote it. I mean, I didn't have the freedom to just ride it whenever because
Yeah.
I think my parents knew that if they just let me ride it like a bike, they'll find it somewhere in a ditch or me
Yeah.
hurt. But I would have had fun with it. Like if I could just ride it like whenever I wanted to ride it, I did. What I just been outside all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, full tank of gas, full to E.
Just ride.
Just out here,
Like gas is
little
free.
bad kid in the hood. Like I'm not in the suburbs. I'm saying
Okay.
like the little bad kids in the hood. I'm not saying I'm from the. Y'all know. I already said this on this podcast. I'm from the suburbs. Okay, it's okay. I got a cul-de-sac. You hear me?
You got close.
Oh boy, but yeah, that's those two things kind of stand out. And then I guess now my favorite thing is like Heaven and the girls usually decorate. Like my favorite thing is like I like to leave when they decorate. Not that I don't like to decorate, but they like to do it, and I'm just like feel like I'm in the way. So like they really, really, really get into this decorating thing, and they love it. And I just like to leave and come back to like the Winter Wonderland. So it's like makes me like when everybody's asleep, I get to like just take it in.
Yeah.
I come back in the morning like because of my schedule usually, and it's just like a cool thing for me to come home and see the house like transformed. So I've taken a liking to that.
Yeah.
So that's probably like my favorite thing right now is
Coming
that.
home and being like, oh, it's a new season.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see like, and then the girls want to show me everything that they did and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So yeah, it's cool. And now we got 2 Christmas trees. We got one in our bedroom now, so
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. Because we got a new Christmas tree this year. But so this week on this episode, we want to talk about just how to keep Christ, this Christocentric holiday season. I think I have some thoughts around just like my own personal journey through the holidays. I think that there's sections of people in Christianity that don't really get into the holidays as far as decorations, having Christmas trees, and they really just, we're doing this to celebrate Christ. We don't get into the fanfare and the consumerism, and then there are people who feel like it's a pagan holiday and they don't. And then there are people who fully engage with American culture when it comes to Christmas.
Yeah.
And then there are people who are so engulfed in it that they forget that this really is about Christ, except for the day of Christmas.
Yeah.
And then wanting to reflect on how we can, as our family, as the shepherds, how we can keep our eyes focused on what is true about this season, and encouraging our kids, growing our kids in that, and then maybe encouraging the people who are listening or watching to find ways to do that within their home as well.
Yeah.
So, you want to kick us off? What are your thoughts?
I got a word.
You got a word? Okay, you want to share that now?
Sure.
Okay.
So when we were talking about this, I just kind of had, like, I always say Rolodex, but like catalog of things that I thought about. And Leviticus, right? I thought Leviticus had something to say about it, and it does.
Ooh, is this Leviticus 23?
Yeah.
Oh, the feast?
Yeah, so I saw it elsewhere too. Like I immediately defaulted to Joshua, but I thought this one was a little bit better because it was a yearly thing, right? So in Leviticus, which a lot of people probably don't even read over, but the more you read the New Testament and know who Jesus is, the more Leviticus and Deuteronomy and Numbers come alive. Like, it's a beautiful book, and when you can actually start to see Jesus in it, it changes everything in the way you read it. But in Leviticus 23, it talks about the Feast of Booths, and essentially I'll summarize it really quick. Like, on the first day was rest, 8th day was rest, and for 7 days they lived in tents, and they basically had instructions to have a feast and to have a good time and to celebrate. So for 7 days in a row, that's what they did. They celebrated. And verse 43 is what I want to talk about specifically. And it says, in 42, it says that you should dwell in the booths for 7 days. And he says that your generations may know that I made the people of Israel dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So he says that generations may know, right? So the whole reason that the Lord instituted this Feast of Booths on a yearly basis was to remind them of who he was every single year. It was to remind them that I provided for you, I clothed you, I made a way for you while you were in the wilderness, and I need you to remember that. I need generations to know who I am. I need you to raise up generations who know that I am Yahweh. I am the provider. I will provide for you in every single situation. And with Christmas, right, that is a yearly holiday. But our goal is to inspire our children to know who Jesus is, to know what he's done for us, to know the importance of Jesus clothing himself in humanity and humbling himself and coming into the form of a child to be the Messiah. Like that is what, so our command can be for us for generations to tell that story and to emphasize that story so that generations and generations can know the start of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And that is something that I think we see all the time. There are other sections in the Old Testament where God is telling them, put a monument here, put a monument here, put 12 stones here. Because, and then when your children ask you, why is this here? You can tell them, this is how the Lord did this, or this is how he delivered us from this. So let Christmas be a memorial to Jesus Christ. Let it be, let it remind your children every year that this is who he is and this is what he's done. And that was something I just made it really clear for me. So I just thought about that, and I wanted to share that with y'all. So if that's something you want to read to your kids about why hey, why, if they say, why we gotta talk about this same thing every year? Yeah. You tell them
so that we don't forget.
We don't forget. Yeah.
That's so good. I love Leviticus chapter 23. I think that I did a study on Leviticus 23, and I come back to it every year just because it's really that good. And I'm always inspired by, people of the Jewish faith. Like, this is the center of their Torah. Like, if you open up to the center, it falls right to Leviticus, and it gives them instructions for how to live. From that study, I'm always inspired by the Lord's instructions for these people to constantly go back and to remember and not to forget, and to set up rhythms for their lives so that they don't forget. Because as we see when we continue to read through the New Testament, they are forgetful people. Sure. We are forgetful people. And so there's always encouragement to kind of let me not forget, but then what you just read, your generations may not forget. And I think that it's very easy nowadays because there is so much consumerism around every holiday. Like literally every holiday, there is something for you to spend your money on, something to give your time to, and something that is very, Easter is similar to this. But with Christmas, you have the idea of giving gifts. You have the idea of purchasing things and preparing your home and entertaining people. You have the decorating your home. And I think that as the years have gone on, it's gotten bigger and more expensive, and it's required more of you, and it's become more stressful and more taxing, to where you spend your whole holiday season that could have been spent richly engaged in God's word and truths and remembering about Christ and celebrating the hope that was promised to us in the Old Testament actually coming to that, coming to fruition for us, like our Messiah being born, and celebrating that. To, do I have enough decorations in my home? Do I need to buy new stuff this year? How much can I purchase for my kids? Or money is short. How can I, just worried about things that are not eternal, and we miss the whole point.
So how do you balance that? Like, how have you found some ways to balance that, or how are you working towards balancing that?
Yeah, I think that I am transparently. I think that, for one, I grew up with
the whole shebang.
Like my mom's house usually looks like Santa's workshop, and she goes all out. And but I know that from watching her throughout the years, from when I was growing up, it was usually out of a heart of service and giving to other people. Like, people have always enjoyed being in my mom's home. She enjoys having people there, and it's always been a point of service. Not, from my point of view, never been a point of like trying to show off what she has. And I think that's still now, like, she operates out of a place of generosity. But
Remind me of the Grinch.
Yes.
Martha May Huvier has the best lights.
Yes. So it's never been about that. I think that she genuinely finds joy in doing it for other people to enjoy. And I've kind of taken that on. But we have social media now. My mom's not really into social media, so hers just genuinely comes from her own inspiration. And for me, I think that I see every year, like, people with homes 12 times bigger than mine, and with money and pockets that are probably a lot deeper than mine, and they are putting on these huge, like, these beautiful homes, and then you feel like somehow your Christmas is less meaningful because you cannot provide a certain level of experience. And it's such a lie, especially if we're getting to the truth about what do we want our kids to know about. Like, I thought about that a lot at the beginning of like the Christmas coming, because last year Christmas, just like, I robbed myself of focusing on what Christmas was really about. Like, I was so focused on the wrong things that Christmas came and went. And I remember Christmas Day, like, we had all opened our gifts. I think you went to take a nap. Like, the kids were playing with their stuff, and there was like a feeling of emptiness that I felt.
I had worked through the night.
And then you had worked through the night, so you went to sleep, and there's just a feeling of emptiness. Like, there was so much build up for this day, and then it just did not deliver what I was expecting. And in that moment, like, I was convicted, and it was because my attentions were not on everlasting joy. Like, had my heart been set on what this day is really supposed to represent for us as believers, I think my day would have been filled with so much hope and gratitude. And instead it was with, we went through all of these hoops and spent too much money to provide for our kids, and I still felt like I didn't give them enough. And I still feel like,
intentionality. Like, I think anytime, for anything, if you set your intentions on the right things, usually that the outcome is whatever you set the intentions on.
Right.
And if you set your intentions on the right things, kids are challenging because they just want, Christmas is about gifts. And I remember circling the Toys R Us catalog. My brother had a color, I had a color. We circled the like how Nug does every day with that book. And I remember that stuff growing up. But ultimately, like, your kids are not going to remember the gifts. Like, obviously, I remember my motorcycle because that was huge. Like, but do I remember what else I got that Christmas? No. Do I remember, like, I remember being with my brothers, though, like, after Christmas for a week, and us, like, playing PlayStation and staying up late as we could and all that stuff. Like, I remember doing that. I remember my grandma's sweet potato pie. Like, I remember things like that. She made apple pie at Christmas too. Like, I remember that. I don't remember specifically the
What
gifts
was
that I
bought
got.
for you.
Yeah, and I think if you can cultivate that kind of culture in your home, like you can cultivate an environment that people want to be in. Like my mom's house at Christmas is joyful. My mom's house at Christmas is Christocentric. It is a place where I want my kids to be. Like I want them to experience that, not necessarily what grandma and grandpa or mom and dad have to give, but what their house is like, and I think
the
that
environment that is
that is what matters the most. You never forget the people who loved you best, right? You never forget those people who you just know, like, they give the best hug, they do this, they do that. You don't remember nothing they gave you, but you remember how they treated you. You remember the hugs, you remember the love, you remember the compassion they showed. Like when I think of love, I think of Lily Grove Baptist Church. I just do. Like, because they showed me a love that I've never seen before. Like from people that I didn't know. Right? Who just can latch themselves onto a group of people that they did not know and loved them like they were there. Like that. So I remember each sermon from Sunday? No, but I remember being hugged and kissed. You know what I'm saying? So like that part is what I think we should focus on for Christmas and Thanksgiving and things. Like, make it a practice to just talk about it. Like, hey, like, what is Christmas about? Or like, hey, this is, or dads or moms, lead the conversation. Like, just start talking about it. Whether they're engaged or not. Don't make it like and I've been guilty of this. Don't make it a lecture. Don't make it be like they got, like, between you and your husband, just start talking. Just start talking about Christmas or something that you learned.
Just the excitement that, I mean, I know when I think about Christmas and just the hope that I feel, like, wow, like, just the faithfulness of God to find out, like, the seed of the woman coming, like from Genesis 3, that there would be a seed of a woman that would come and crush the serpent's head. Like, wow, this is a fulfillment of God, what he promised to us. And the hope that this baby that was, yes, we know he wasn't born on December 25th, like, but to celebrate that there was a birth, that he did come as a man, that the prophecies about him that said he would come and how he would come, like, that those were fulfilled, and what that means to us, like, that the hope that it brings to us, that brings me more joy than anything. And for my kids to see that this is what they really look for. Like, even this year with decorating the home, like, I intentionally, like, these are obviously semantics, but to some people, but for me to prepare my heart, like, I listened to, I'm studying Ephesians right now, so I listened to Ephesians out loud a lot of the time. I was making decorations or decorating. The kids played Christmas music for a little bit, or I was listening to worship, just setting my mind on Christ. Like, am I beautifying my home for myself or so that other people can come into my home and see it's beautiful? But no, I'm actually preparing my home for the celebration of a king, and teaching my kids that as well, and putting my heart posture in the right place. I think too, when it comes to, you just mentioned that, like, kids are going to be excited about gifts, and they are, because that's the expectation that we've set for them. But I can remember times growing up, like, if there was a season that my parents' money was tight, and so our Christmas gifts were not like as, big, and there were some years where they were. So it was different every year, but there was an expectation, I think, that my siblings had, that on Christmas we're going to get something that we want. And I remember there being a Christmas that my parents got us what they could, and I was satisfied with what I got, but I had a sibling who wasn't. And, like, they verbally expressed, like, this dissatisfaction for what they were given, and how it just, like, ruined the mood of the whole Christmas morning. And I'm thinking, like, what gift, like, where do we teach our kids, like, the expectation that on Christmas Day you're going to be given something that you've hoped and dreamed for? Or do we give them the hope that, like, the biggest, what we have been given, and that is been free and available every day, and and celebrating that, and us giving each other gifts is a reflection of what's been given.
I think that's the culture, that is the Christmas culture merging with the Christian culture of what it should be, right? That's the movies and the TV and the ads and all the stuff that has shown us, like, the value in Christmas is what you get, right? And like, they don't want to hear that because they can't touch it. Right. They don't want it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Am I saying, like, oh, don't, get your kids a box that has the gospel printed out on it. No, you can do that, as you know, like
that would probably be discouraging to
them.
But
like I'm saying that, you know, just balance it. Try your best, you know, to balance it, and just to continue to teach your kids, even if it doesn't seem like it's hitting them, or if they're grasping it right away, because they're not. Nuggie is 3. She's not going to be like, oh, I'm locked into this. She's just going to be like, this is what I got for Christmas. And Holland's the type that, you know, we could buy Holland cookies. Like, as much as she like to eat, we just buy her snacks for Christmas. Be like, Nugs, this is your Christmas. She would be so elated. But, I just want to caution that, you know, like, man, it's easy to get caught up, and it's easy to, like you said, feel less than as a parent because Jimmy down the block got, you know, whatever else, and your kid doesn't have that, and then your kid goes to school and every teacher asks, what'd you guys get for Christmas? You know, and it's demoralizing when you feel like that. But, you know, if that is you this year, just, if you don't have it, you know, be encouraged. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the end of the world.
So you do have something great to offer.
You do have something to offer your children. And like I said, it may sting a little bit now, but when they get older, they're not going to say, Mom and Dad, thank you for that gift you gave me when I was 7 that I don't have anymore. Thank you for the home you provided. Thank you for the things you did. Thank you for the memories you created. Like, nobody talks about the stuff like that you get. It's a good feeling to get it, but nobody talks about it.
And usually I mean, we were leaving Walmart this week, and Aaliyah and Holland were both talking about, like, you know, they see all the Christmas stuff and then they're talking about things that they want. And every time me and Aaliyah talk, she wants something different. Of course. Every time me and Holland talk, she wants something different. And I did feel like that not frustration, but like that pull to be like, they're asking for all these million different things. Like, we can't provide all of that for them right now. And I just let them know, I said, you know, you guys, what if there was a Christmas where we just didn't have the money to buy any gifts? Would Christmas feel less valuable to you guys if, like, I couldn't get you anything? And of course Holland is like, no, you know, but Aaliyah was like, no, because that's not what Christmas is about. And I was like, no, we turn our attention to the things that we receive, we are always putting ourselves in a place to be let down. But if we can set our mind on what Christmas is truly about, then that's never going to go anywhere. That hope is still going to be there. And then also creating an environment in your home where the gift giving is not central to Christmas Day, but the being together, reflecting on Christ and the gift that we have as a family, I think is something that I want to get better at. The other day when I was starting to decorate for Christmas, and you mentioned, like, one of your favorite things is that when we decorate and then you come home and, like, oh, the house looks so beautiful. Well, this year the Lord has blessed us with a bigger place. And so the decorations that I've had for the past 2 years filled a very small space. And so I had pulled everything out, and I'm just like figuring out where I'm going to put things, and I'm just like, this is not very impressive. Like, there's just, like, the way our home is set up and the space that we have. And I just remember just feeling like, what word would you describe my face to be? Dejected. I just felt like, well, this is just not going to be enough, because I just don't have enough for my family. Like, Christmas is not going to be, I could feel myself believing that, like, Christmas is not going to be as impressive this year because I don't have this home, like, these beautiful decorations. Obviously, saying it out loud, I'm giggling because it's pretty childish. And then you were like, you being the husband that you are to me, and, like, understanding that, you know, beautifying my home is something that is important to me. And so you were being like, well, what do you need me to do? Do you want money to go and shop? And I just was like, no, because I need to work through this, because I know that my heart posture is not in the right place. Like, I am prioritizing decorations and already feeling like my holidays in the slumps, when that's not what this is about. And I think that, and then I'm not even like, praise the Lord that He has blessed us with the home that we have. Right, and you know, giving Him praise for that. But it's like, I have this big home, but now I don't have anything to decorate it with, you know, just really how the enemy slips in and lies. And that's how I knew, I was like, I really need to protect my mind in this season, that I'm not robbed in the way that I was in prior seasons, of truly being able to be thankful and remember, and then pass that remembrance on to my kids of why this holiday matters. Yeah, shifting gears, like what do you say? What do you have for the person that
is like, I hear y'all, right? Where I'm going, this person's house, this family's house, they don't care nothing about Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, how can that person be a light? You know, how can they try to keep Christ at the center when their family, whoever's hosting the events, don't care much about it?
Well, one, I think that this whole Advent season is leading up to the day of Christmas. And so I think that, I mean, as for us, like, we're planning to intentionally purchase an Advent Bible study that we can do as a family that kind of gives us a direction that is well-fitting for everybody in our home, to have reflection daily on something that points us to the truth of Christmas. And so I think that preparing our hearts for that day and making the most of this season, focusing on Christ and his birth and his character and what that means, like, why is that significant for us, and taking time to really meditate on that. I think what happens on Christmas Day, whether you're going, I think how you start your day, you know, no matter where you are, you can start your day in your word. You can start your day in prayer. You can start your day in praise to God. And then inviting other people into that too, if they want to, if you have family members that are wanting to be a part of that. But if you're in a home on Christmas Day where no one's giving thanks to God and no one's talking about the birth of Christ, doesn't mean that leading up to that you can't.
Yeah, like in that space where like people treat Christmas like for somebody in it, like say I'm at the house and people are, you know, talking about, you know, they drinking and doing all care, you know, and I would just say again, love your family, be a light. You know,
when you say drinking, what you mean? Because, you know,
I'm talking about like people getting.
I mean, you got to be clear, because there's
when I say drink, no, see, I ain't saying
people enjoying a glass of wine on Christmas.
I ain't say having a drink. I said drinking with an N,
okay,
not with a G. Drinking, like y'all know what that. You know what that is,
okay?
Right, like that.
They drinking and carrying on.
Yeah, and it gets to the point where it can be like, you know, just over the top. You know, just be a light. I say don't be let me tell y'all. Let me open my Bible and, you know, don't be like that. But I just think, like, in practically speaking, you know why you're there. Love people in it. You know what I'm saying? Be a light. Be a joy. You know, bring joy to wherever you are, and encourage people. Like, be mindful. Like, just pull people aside and be like, hey, I love you, and this is why. You know, like Thanksgiving too. Let's not skip over Thanksgiving, because we ain't talking about Thanksgiving yet. And Thanksgiving, I love me some Thanksgiving. So, yes, like, just be intentional. Pull people aside. Something I like to do is I like to write. And I like to write, like, handwritten stuff. So, you know, write handwritten notes to people. Like, just thanking them for this year and what they've done for you so far in your life. Like, that, man, that goes a long way.
Or reasons why you're thankful for them.
Yeah, just stuff like that. Like, find ways to do things that show Christ and reveal who you are and who you love, which is Jesus, to them, you know. And if, you know, they ask you to be the prayer person, be the prayer person. Like, I'm the prayer person.
There's certain people that usually just end up being designated prayer people.
I'm the designated prayer.
Designated prayer people. But I think that sometimes our actions towards the people that we are in community with or fellowship with, typically if you are part of a family where people don't, like you said, if you're going to someone's home who doesn't value Christ, who it's not the center of the celebration, doesn't mean that you can't come with Christ, you know, dwelling within you, and that you can't be a light to people. I think that your words of encouragement to people go far beyond a gift that sticks with people, and that you get to determine how your holiday looks for the most part. And I'm also a huge advocate of having your own traditions. I get that if you're a single person and you do depend on community, but I think that we can extend holiday celebrations beyond blood family and celebrating with people who are brothers and sisters in Christ as well. And starting traditions within your own family, like setting aside times on Thanksgiving and on Christmas where it is maybe just your intimate family and you reflecting, taking a time of, you know, acknowledging God. And I think something that I'm in different groups of believers. So we have our church family and our small group, and then I also have our homeschool group, which I really love because it really is just like this modge podge of people from different walks of life and different, they just live life differently. Like some of them have 10 kids, some of them have 6, some of them, have 4, and then there's 2 or 1. Like we just all look very differently. And there's this one family on our campus, and there's 10 children, and they range from like about to be 1 to 18. And I was sitting with their mom, and she was telling me that how this year she's always felt that like pull of just the stressfulness that comes with the holidays when you have 10 kids.
Yeah, facts.
And they all want gifts, and just letting them down, and they're having their expectations and stuff. And so something that they've done as a family this year is they've started trying to observe the feast in the Bible, because it's something that they can completely get behind. They understand the purpose of it. It still resonates today. Like there's still some parts that we can, like the Feast of Booths, we need remembrance. We need to sit back and remember how the Lord delivered us from our sins and saved us, and what that means for us. And so it's something that they can invite all of their kids into, that they all have their own personal experiences, that doesn't require consumerism at all, but total reflection on God. And I love that I get to be around people who give me a fresh outlook on, I can be encouraged that I don't have to conform. I don't have to conform to the things of this world and saying that Christmas has to look like this or it's not Christmas. Yeah. But my family can prioritize what our values truly are, and that we can walk away from this season saying that God was given the glory and not we were serving our money in this season, right, consuming and not truly serving.
I think we have the same perspective on weddings.
Yeah, we do.
Like me and Heaven have the same perspective on weddings. You know how like, people have this huge build up to like their wedding day, and it's so much money and time and stress and this and that, and then you have the wedding, and then like it's like that's supposed to be the best day of your life, best day of your marriage, and then it's just from there, right?
Yeah.
And we're just like, this is gonna be the worst, not the worst day, but like we should just be going up
every
from here.
Day should be better, yeah.
Like and to be honest, like our wedding, if people saw what we had to work with, they'd be like, you can't have a wedding.
Yeah.
but we did a wedding, and again, it's not about, I don't want to get into numbers and stuff, but like we had a wedding, and people were like, this is amazing, and I'm like, by God's grace, because you have no idea how we we put this together. But I feel like that day, we have fond memories of it, and we felt like we honored the Lord. But I feel like that's still a day that we every year we think back on our anniversary, but like it's only up from there. You know what I mean? Like that is, and when it comes to this stuff like Christmas and holidays, like I mean that's an important day, and we want to remember and celebrate, and we want to put time and effort into it. But like, this is who we are. Like this ain't gonna stop after Christmas. We still gonna be teaching our kids. We still gonna be sharing and giving them things and telling. Like sometimes I think it's better for them to get gifts on days they don't think they do, because it's such a gospel representation.
It is. It really
like it's like, what did I get this for? Absolutely nothing.
No reason.
Like just because I thought of you, and that is like those kind of things. So Christmas is important, and it's a day we celebrate, and it's a holiday and all this stuff. But like, that same attitude and things, perspective you carry into that, you put so much effort into it, like make that the other 364. Like do those things.
And I think that is a good perspective, and you are really good at that, of just like setting up surprises and like things that are not expected for our kids. And I think every family values things different, and so this is not us like do it this way, this is the best way. But I think when it comes to Christmas and gifts and things, it's not like you're not setting your kids up to be like, this is the one and only day that I'm gonna give to you. But this is just a part of it. But I am really looking forward to, as the years go on, if the Lord tarries, that we
church yourself.
If the Lord tarries, that we can continue to build on that practice of like what do the holidays look like here. And especially after the sermon that I heard on Sunday, I'm just like, I want my
shout out to Pastor Mike.
My holidays and every other time of the year, but especially on the holidays when I'm being told to focus inward and spend money and create environments for myself, for others to look upon, but to create an environment that I can serve and give to others.
Like, I mean, practically speaking, for real, y'all. Like, think about what you bought your kids last year and look where they and go find. I was gonna
say that.
Go find.
I was gonna say like, there's nothing.
Go find it.
There is nothing that will drive me crazy. Is that especially because I just shared like last year, I was just like, oh, I got to get them this and this. And this is Nuggie's first Christmas where she's really aware of like opening gifts and being able to play with stuff. And I've got to set this expectation. And then Christmas Day comes and they open up their stuff. Nuggie opened up her stuff. She looked at all the things. We got her like everything you could possibly want to play with the baby doll.
I don't even remember.
She was trying to touch stuff Aaliyah got. Right. Like, just was not wanting it. And then now, like, I just got rid of so much stuff in her room.
Most of it probably was Christmas stuff.
Christmas stuff that she just, like, refused to play with. And so...
there's a couple of things that she uses. Like, I mean, my mom got her a tablet last year. Like, she likes that. You know, certain things that they get, like me. Like, you bought me that Capitals jersey last year. Like, that, stuff like that, like, I remember.
I think giving a valuable gift is good, but, like... I think the idea of like they have to have all of this stuff,
because a lot of stuff they don't like.
It goes to show how is it really that important to them?
Yeah, like I mean, this is now we just talk. I mean, we just have a conversation with y'all, but like, try to find a gift that holds value in that your kids can use all year, or that they can find time in, like, things that they may not seem super excited about, but things that last them forever. Like, I mean, Aaliyah still uses that art table from Christmas a long time ago. Like, we bought her that art table. She still sits and uses that art table. Right? Like, stuff like that. Like, obviously, a tablet, again, people feel some kind of way about that. We didn't buy it, but anyway. Nug enjoys that, and she uses it, and stuff like that. Still something she uses not every day, but, yeah, so just think about that. And if you're feeling discouraged, like, man, I can't get them a bunch, like, seriously, try that activity. Look around your house and be like, what did I buy them last year? Well, ask them, hey, what'd you get for Christmas last year? And look, see how long it takes them to remember. Like, and then be like, where is that? I don't know. Yeah. Did you do it? I don't know. You know what I mean? So, like, that stuff don't really matter.
And I think practically speaking, too, if you are in a season where gift giving is slim, or you do have a large family and you know that you can't give,
because I can't buy Christmas for everybody.
Like, you just can't give everybody, or even if you have a large family, your immediate family is large, and just, I mean, as expensive as things are now, like, even like the idea of like spending $50 on every kid or $25 on every kid adds up if you have a really large family, even to get them something small.
Yeah, because life don't stop for the 25th.
It doesn't. So I think that regardless of where your money is, whether you are in a tax bracket where you could spend $500 per kid or more, or $100 per kid or less, like whatever that is, if you're feeling like you're not able to give to your kids in the way that you desire to, I want to encourage you to ask the Lord, like, search my heart. This discontentment that I'm feeling, is that something that you've given me? Because like that I'm holding this responsibility that I should be giving my kids certain things. And if it's not, change my heart towards that. And then practically, I think take the attention off the gifts and then bring your kids into, like, cook breakfast together, Christmas breakfast, bake cookies together, maybe bake some things and take them to neighbors. Like, find ways to engage your kids that take their minds off of themselves and onto others or onto one another. And I think you can be creative in prepping that. But I think your attitude towards it can change your kids' attitudes towards it. And I think that, for me, for sure, like, from the time Aaliyah was little, like, I always spent way too much money on Christmas. And I think it took me to get to this year where I'm just like, I value gift giving so much, and also receiving gifts. Like, it's one of my love languages. So, but I want so desperately for her to have, like, because she is getting older, and then also Aaliyah to, like, have, or Holland to have a deeper meaning to this season versus just what she can get from other people. But, like, practicing generosity in this season too, and setting her eyes on Christ as she's old enough to think of that. Yeah,
so I'm good. I mean, I think you've been crushing it.
I was crushing it?
You're crushing it. No. Crushing it. So, like we said earlier, this will be our last episode of the season. Just reflecting on, kind of motivation for you guys is, we didn't know the first thing about doing stuff like this.
What podcast?
Yeah, not the first clue. You know what I mean? How to do it, what to buy, how to, God provided, like, some light equipment. Shout out to Steve for the, we got lighting equipment. We found a mic. We put up a stand, camera and a tripod, and just started talking. And then we figured out how to do the editing software and put out clips and captions and just did it. So, I mean, if God is putting something on your heart, that you're supposed to do, or not even supposed to do, but it doesn't go away. Like you're like, man, I think I want to do that, and then it keeps coming back to you. You be like, but man, just jump in, just go. You never know who you can impact, and whatever the case may be. I think not even being about the numbers. You know what I mean? Like we got 100 followers on our Instagram page and like 70 something subscribers, like in 10 weeks. And for us, it's like we look at it as like if we were to have a church and 75 people were
or if
coming,
100 people were to come here to our home to like engage with us in God's word, we would be overwhelmed. Like, whoa, there's 100 people here. So I think that in an age where people only praise if you have likes, hundreds of thousands of followers, and not that people haven't worked to gain those followers, but sometimes you miss the people who are there in the beginning. Yeah, like, man, the people that watch every week, or the people that stumble. Like, we had a guy just like, I don't know how this ended up on my feed, but I got value out of it. Praise God. That's why we do this, and we keep doing it. We're gonna keep doing it as long as we can. We want to continue in it, and we're looking forward to picking it back up once the holidays are over. So thank you all for supporting us this far. Thank you for liking and commenting and sharing and engaging our content. It's been a joy, and we just want to continue to spread the word of God, to help other Christian marriages, families, couples figure this thing out as we figure it out. That's it. So happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Keep Jesus in the middle of all those things. Yes. And we will see y'all in 2025. 2025. Yeah. So happy holidays. Happy holidays. And follow the shepherd. During the holidays. You know what I mean? Just the North Star. Just follow the North Star. You'll find the North Star. You'll find them there. You know what I mean? So we holler at y'all. Peace.